Ingrid Leary.
What a shameful day for this government. What a shameful day to go out and election campaign to deliberately mislead voters, knowing that they had no intention ever of delivering on the promise of Dunedin Hospital. That is callous politics. It is throwing the people of the South under the bus, and now they are shamefully trying to gaslight people to say that there is this crisis that once again doesn't exist just to suit their political purposes. Madam Speaker, when I go door knocking most weeks, surveying my constituents about what is the most important issue in the electorate, what comes up first, time and time again, in every part of the electorate, whether it is in South Dunedin, whether it is Kaka Point, Balclutha, Middlemarch, right across the whole of the Taieri electorate, is access to healthcare and the new Dunedin Hospital. They are as important to the people of Taieri as the cost of living crisis, and that is because in my electorate, about a quarter of the population are over the age of 60. So healthcare is really important, and when they voted last election, many of them were sceptical about the National Party promises, but they desperately wanted access to healthcare. They saw the need for it, and they told me that had a very big bearing on how they voted. Well, those people will be so let down, the ones who put their faith in the national government. The fact that many of them didn't, and that I stand here today as their representative, shows that they have long memories of the type of antics that this government has done previously, where they've talked up the need for a hospital and then done absolutely nothing to deliver it. Madam Speaker, the other side, the government, are really misleading with their narrative around this hospital, and this has been clarified as well by the former Southern Partnership Chair, the Honourable Pete Hodgson. He's saying that the costs that they are anticipating of the blowout $3 billion, his word is absurd. What they have done to concoct this narrative is add pathology, the car park and a refurb costed at $400 million. They have talked up the problems of the site. The fact is that the hospital is not just about services, it is about the economic development and lifeblood of Dunedin being a centre of medical excellence, and that requires a hospital to have proximity to both the university and to the Polytech. All the issues that were mentioned by Nicola Willis have already been resolved. It was 2.7% of the total budget to do that remediation, and all of that work is now complete. The land was bought actually incredibly cheaply, $11 million, because Cadbury's wanted to get out of town. So there was already value for money in that purchase, and it's just so important that the hospital has the proximity to the university so that the medical school can remain the centre of excellence that we see so profoundly from Otago University. The fact of the matter is that this government basically hates the South Island. We've got plenty of evidence. They've destroyed the possibility of having the rail-enabled ferries, or it's looking very likely, that will ensure that the Hillside Workshop investment by the Labor government, the revitalisation of the Hillside Workshops, bringing so many jobs to my people in South Dunedin, they depend on rail-enabled ferries, and this government is now putting that into a very big question mark. That is bad news for Hillside. They don't care about the ramifications. They don't care about our roads. There are no roads of national significance anywhere around my electorate. In fact, the map from Waka Kotahi doesn't even have the South Island on it. And the worst bit, Madam Speaker, is that they prefer to put the tax breaks for big tobacco forced on this national government by a minor party ahead of the healthcare needs of New Zealanders and ahead of their promises to the people of the South, and that is the people of Dunedin, the people of Invercargill, all the people in the rural areas in between who find it so difficult to access healthcare and who have waited so long and fought so hard. Well, my message to them is make sure wherever you are on Saturday, come down to the Octagon at midday, put on your T-shirts and send a message to this government that you will not accept anything less than the hospital that they promised that they would deliver.
While I agree with Ingrid's point. She's correct that there are no roads of national significance anywhere around Dunedin. What I do find ironic, though, is that in her electorate, the government, as it currently stands, has given funding for an upgrade to public transport. But given the state of this government, I find that quite ironic.
I wonder where. That's the question. You know, a bus service from Dunedin to the airport?
No, it's the Princess Street area at the south of Dunedin, which is a very, very busy bus area. Most of the buses that go south or west from Dunedin travel through it. So upgrading the bus shelters and the bus network in that particular area. But again, she makes a really good point that this government has not really given much consideration to what it's like in Dunedin. So they are putting some funding into Hillside Workshops, and I understand that Shane Jones will be here making some announcements in the coming weeks. They've put in some money into that public transport, but when it comes to actually delivering the infrastructure, again, we see Dunedin as being ignored.
Yeah, it just seems to always be basically the very second fiddle